You are listening to and or watching Rarely Reserved, a Star Wars Shatterpoint bonusode. I am Sin, and I am here with Omnis, and hopefully we're both ready to make a really fun character.
Oh, I'm definitely ready. I'm been hyped for this. Hey, but this has been your baby from the get-go, and I'm excited to dig into a little bit of design stuff again.
Yes, me too. So today, as referenced, what feels like eons ago, we are doing our lovely War Council member and great friend Lex. And so we have some ideas. And for this one, I knew about what kind of art style I wanted to go for well before I had any other ideas, because Lex has had custom art of characters commissioned in the past. And so I did what all great artists do. I stole their ideas. So, not like copying tracing, but like the vibes, right? Of, Lex really likes characters who are very, feminine and have like skirts and tall boots and long hair. And so like easy. Now I kind of know a direction that I want to go. And, for this one, I also wanted to push myself a little bit and have kind of a more dramatic, dynamic pose. And let me tell you, that was really hard. So Lex, I hope you appreciate the crap out of this drawing because it pushed me to my absolute limits.
Well, I want to say I'm pretty excited about the art in general. You know, just first off, she's got a double-bladed lightsaber, but it's more of a single hilt. So it reminds me of one of my favorite characters from pre-Legends lore, which is Exar Kun, who was the first character to ever have a double-bladed lightsaber, but he didn't have like a Darth Maul style saber where it had enough for kind of that full length. It was more of just a normal like 12-inch lightsaber. And so already I'm seeing like Exar Kun vibes in it, but very purple. He had a blue lightsaber and she's got blue skin. So I'm just feeling vibes. So I'm already kind of just excited about this character in general. Why don't you tell me and the watchers and listeners what a little backstory before we dig into designing it?
Yes, so the backstory was a dual effort. I think the two of us kind of walking through it. But what we ended up with was that Lex character in Shatterpoint was a Jedi Padawan, and so went through a lot of training, and then went out to get a kyber crystal to make their first lightsaber, and on the way back, something catastrophic went wrong, and they ended up on Dathomir alone. And rather than, any other number of terrible things happening, they ended up being taken in by the Dathomirian Night Sisters and slowly became one of them. And so they have these interesting kind of mix of things where they started out in this like one was serious, sort of rigid cult, and then moved into more of a different style of doing things. And so I think it's kind of a fun blend, and I think it'll make an even more fun character because we'll have tags that are melding together and synergizing in fun ways.
Okay, this might be kind of dorky, but for people who haven't watched all of like Clone Wars and Ahsoka and stuff, what I'm envisioning was that there's like a ship of Padawans, might not be that many, so there's not that many deaths, but they go out on a ship, they go to a planet where they're supposed to like find their kyber crystal, right? And in the shows, they've actually had a droid guidance in some cases where there's a droid that teaches them some assembly and stuff and guides the ship, or there's a droid on the ship that assists with those things. And I was thinking it would be kind of funny if there was like a Sin 4 droid that also survived the crash. And so that Lex had like a Sin 4 droid that switched into kind of a protector mode when they had no way of getting back to the Jedi, and kind of rolled with like helping Lex assemble their lightsaber, and, you know, just kind of like stuck around for the journeys of Lex. I don't know what the character's name is yet. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I like it. I would like if there our characters can kind of be, you know, in the same zone and aware of each other, you know. So I like that. I like that a lot. That sounds fun.
Okay, maybe we're working an ability that's, because there are characters like Iden who actually have a droid that hangs out with them, and there's an ability on their card that references their droid companion. So maybe that's a thing that we work in. But where do you want to start with the character? Are we doing the name yet? Where do you want to begin?
Let's begin. I want to start let's just pick let's do the abilities in the order that they appear. But I don't think we need to, like, give every single ability type, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Well, we do need to pick unit type. Are we building a primary? Are we building a secondary? Or are we building a support?
Well, dang it. You're hitting me with the hard questions right off the bat. See, I think
I have a thought if you want.
No, I'm going to talk for a minute. I think that we could go several ways. I think you would need to make a compelling argument for this character to be a primary. I don't see that as much. I could see very strong argument for secondary. Support only if you want to make me do a little bit of extra work and draw a droid. That would be like a droid companion that she goes out with, which is not the end of the world for me. I can draw a droid. But yeah, it would either be secondary or Lex plus droid as a support.
So after I said it, I started leaning towards support, which could be a single model support, like Fifth Brother or Fourth Sister. And also, when I just think of Lex, I think of supportiveness. Like, Lex is just one of the most supportive people that I've probably ever met in my life. And so just thinking of them as just being supportive, it like just jumps out to me as like, yeah, something about saying Lex's character is a supporting character, like supports their friends, supports their allies, supports their team, just hits me right in some way.
I cannot disagree with that. So we want to do support then. Okay, support character. All right.
I think it would be better to design them still as a single model support, so that, because otherwise we would kind of, I think it gets complicated if we're going to be like droid companion. But I mean, we could, but my thought is make a really cool single model support is my thought.
Bet. Let's do it.
Okay. We can always decide threat level and stuff down the road, depending on how powerful and stuff we make the character. So we've got room to kind of mess around there. But, okay. So we're starting from the top of the list of abilities. What's the first one?
The first one is, I'm looking at it right now, active. So these are the, at any time ones that can have force cost.
Okay. So active ability, both Fourth Sister and Fifth Brother have powerful force abilities for moving characters, and it's part of what makes them valuable as a single model support. And the characteristic Night Sister ability in Shatterpoint is manipulating hand, where just like walks an enemy away, which also seems to a certain extent non-violent, and like in cases where you're like, you're not going to fuck with us, you're just going to get the fuck out of here, which kind of feels like would vibe for Lex. So giving them manipulating hand, which is, 2 force, just dash an enemy away. I think that's a really cool ability for her.
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, that's yeah, choosing a nonviolent option first that fits in the vibe of the group.
Okay, well, easy. We're starting off so strong. I'm kind of glad. I think Manipulating Hand is also just a really cool ability. So I'm down for making Lex's character badass. So not that all of them haven't been badass, but Manipulating Hand is one of my favorite abilities. So, all right. Well, then we'll have to come up with a cool name though. But that will happen behind the scenes. What's the next ability that we're doing?
All right, the next one, if we would like to put one on there, is a reactive ability. These are the ones that are in response to a triggering event, and usually / always have a forced cost.
This one gets interesting. So a couple of things that jump out to me right away is either because they do have a lightsaber, and I do think of her as someone who would defend her allies. So just lightsaber deflect, right? Just being able to reflect back, blaster bolts makes sense to me. But I could also see supporting fire dash. Kit Fisto has it. ARF troopers have it. Death troopers have it. I could really see her, just from an allied perspective, something that's, again, not super violent, but is something that's just like also trying to support Night Sisters. I don't know if supporting Fire Dash Night Sister is too restrictive of an ability. Like maybe supporting Fire Dash Force User. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, they do have a lot of things that. I mean, we could inverse it. It could be like supporting fire pin.
Then we'd be doing coordinated fire pin.
Sorry, coordinated fire. That's what I meant.
Yeah, we definitely can do that. I think any of these potentially work. I don't really see it being like, hey, you're gonna like help you add dice, that sort of thing. Could also be supporting fire heal.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, supporting fire.
It's a little complicated because I'm not sure if we were just going, hey, we want Lex to be able to like immediately put this down. There's not a ton of Night Sisters in the game, so it might make more sense to have this be a little bit more generically useful and go with deflect, just so it's not too restrictive of an ability.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then there's not like only one list that they work in.
Fair. All right. Well, we'll go with lightsaber deflect. Do you think riposte makes more sense, like the physical combat or the protecting from? I kind of just vibed with the idea of Lex protecting allies. We could do. What if we did like a kind of maybe a super deflect where you could deflect, but you could also do it in response to allies within range 2 being attacked.
That I like more, I think.
Okay, so we'll do maybe advanced lightsaber deflect or like advanced deflect or something like that. We'll figure it out, but it'll be named something slightly different. It'll be deflect, but also works when allies are attacked within range 2. I dig that a lot. All right, well, what's next then?
Looking at my list from the rules, innate. These are always in effect and never have a forced cost.
Well, my first thought here is because we're designing a cool support. I think the tiebreaker ability is pretty important here to making a single model support, just like work and be really cool. Unless you want to do like some weird version of it, but I would also just be cool with giving her that tiebreaker rule, same as like inquisitorial mandate, and Ezra has it and Gideon has it, but we could do something weirder if you want.
I mean, I think it's a must with the single, so that's got to be there somehow. I'm just wondering how it would be weirder. Like,
Well, could do something a little bit different and be, instead of a straight tiebreaker where she breaks the tie with secondaries and primaries could be a little bit different and be like, she beats all supporting characters. Something like that, where like, even if she's outnumbered on the point and it's supporting characters, she will win the point. Something, we could figure out the exact wording, but something where she just auto beats other supports, but she doesn't auto beat secondaries and primaries. Or it could be supports and secondaries. We could figure out the exact wording, but we could do something a little bit weirder if you wanted.
I like that. Like, this character will always, have control of an objective over a support unit or secondary unit, but not primary unit. Yeah, that's interesting.
It could, basically you could word it something like, if the only enemies contesting an objective that this character is contesting, then at the end of the turn, this character takes control of that objective.
Yeah, we'll figure out the exact wording, but I get what you mean.
Okay, cool. I always like spice it up just a little bit, because I always think it's cool when this single model support could beat like a clone trooper unit, which I actually think is pretty cool, because this is not just some rando. This is Lex, the Dathomirian trained Night Sister Jedi.
Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, the next one would be the tactic, which are special innate abilities that allow units to work together. This is the start of activation 1.
Yeah, so obviously I want a movement ability in here somewhere. But do we want to do something a little fancy? Like, one of the things that kind of jumps out to me is OB2's ability, where it's at the start of this turn, reposition, or even maybe heal and reposition, but has the ability to forsake it for themselves to give it to someone else with some sort of restriction. OB is, if the allied is engaged, could move them, which also I think kind of fits for her, potentially getting an ally out of danger. And so I think maybe either reposition and heal, or like heal and reposition, or heal and dash, but then could forsake it to give it to an ally that is engaged. What do you think?
I like something that's maybe kind of like how, the, like, tied to her stance. So, like, she can do one in one stance and one in the other, and then they can be two entirely separate things, but you have to be kind of, like, tactical about what one.
Okay. Not a lot of supports have multiple stances, so I hadn't gone that direction yet, but she absolutely could still have multiple stances. So yeah, we could pick pick which form. The question would be like, does she have enough lightsaber training to know 2 different lightsaber styles with this background story? Gets a little bit complicated.
I don't think, isn't one of them a Jedi thing and the other one a Night Sister thing anyway?
Definitely could be. Oh, there was just nothing on the card to, it just depends on how much Night Sister training they have. Would we, not a Night Sisters do like kind of like an energy bow thing? It's not on the card, but would we be cool with her also having like the Night Sister kind of bow?
All I can think of is like an energy bow is just like enough. Like, this actually, okay, no, now I have it. So Lex lands there on the planet, or crash lands on the planet, whatever, has all of the components to make a lightsaber, but is taken in by Dathomirians and Night Sisters. And so she figures out how to make a lightsaber. She also figures out the extra pieces required to make it an energy bow. So the lightsaber, actually, she can draw, like, has a little thing on her hand she can use to draw it back and then just shoot like it's a bow as well. So I'm feeling that, but she has to pick a stance. She can't use it as a bow and a lightsaber. It's stance 1 bow, stance 2 lightsaber. So I think that's super fun.
I was looking over the model and I was like, I don't remember enough about Night Sisters to be like, oh, this is exactly how their bows work. And like, she's got a very short hilt though. So my gut is that she would just also have the bow with her. And that would also make sense why you're switching stances, where like she has a dedicated lightsaber stance. And then there's times that she puts away the lightsaber and uses the traditional Night Sister bow. And that would make then you'd have like two very different stances, which I think would be very cool if we're designing a character who has two stances.
You're no fun.
Why is that no fun? I was looking at this character and just imagining them also having the Night Sister bow and like, oh, that's so cool.
Because I like the idea of a convertible lightsaber bow. That sounds cool to me. But yes, I've conceded. All right. But regardless, we end up with a lightsaber stance and a bow stance. So I feel like then we can have the concept of the ability is dependent on which one she's using.
Okay, so what I would kind of like to steal for the bow side is what Commander Cody kind of has, where he gets to dash, and if there's a character where basically just exposes someone, where we pick what the range would be, but basically on that's if they start off in bow side, they get to dash and then pick someone within range X, or maybe it's longer range, but they have to be engaged with an ally. So it's maybe it's still range 5. After the dash, if an enemy is within range 5, you get to expose them, where she's kind of like taking aim sort of vibe, where it's like, you're fucking with my friend, so I'm going to shoot you. Or lightsaber side, it's a reposition, or do you want it to be reposition just her, or reposition an ally alternatively that is engaged?
I would imagine it's either reposition an ally that's engaged or reposition this character toward an ally.
I'm good with that.
Cool.
Okay, well, I'm digging all the vibes so far, to be totally honest. I think this is a really cool character. So we have, is it just identity left? Is that all that we have?
Hold please. Where'd it go? Okay. Yeah, identity.
So what are you feeling? Because we've chosen support, so they don't tend to have like really crazy identities. But also Lex doesn't want to reserve characters. And so I think there would definitely be a vibe here where this would be a character that cannot be reserved and could maybe like have a reserve related identity.
I feel like instead of this character cannot be reserved, I feel like instead there's like you take a penalty to reserve this character or something like that. Like you can, but it's not a good idea. But also I feel like there should be something else. Give me a sec, I'm thinking.
So, I mean, not from like a logical like character creation standpoint was I thinking don't reserve, but just every time I play Lex is like, no, I'm not reserving characters. And so that's where I was thinking the hard line. But if you want to do something, if you put this character in reserve, they become strained. Could be a way to be like, we're not gonna like, we're worried that it would be too detrimental to, just the game if you couldn't reserve the character. So that could be that part of it.
I have an alternative idea. What about instead of this, what if we go the total opposite direction? And you might tell me this is stupid, but, instead of this character can't be reserved, this character is a penalty for reserving. What if instead it's like something more about reserving, like, when this character is in reserve, you can look at the next card.
Okay, you inspired me, but a slightly different direction. What if we kept with so we could still do something else cool with this, but as the penalty portion, if there is a wounded ally within range 5, this character cannot be put into reserve.
That makes sense. I like that.
Okay, so then let's do something, because now we gave a penalty, so we get a little bit more room to do something fancy with this. So we've given a little bit of force power, a little bit of lightsaber stuff, a little bit of movement, and a good tiebreaker. So we have like the basic elements of a solid character. I would really like the identity to hit home with what this character is about. Do you have any core elements that you were thinking, or in your discussions with Lex, like envisioning what this character is like that we could try to imprint into this identity?
I'm trying to think, because I like stuff that's weird and unique and plays with the game. But, gosh, I'm just trying to, I should have thought of this before, and instead I was like, no, it'll be cool if I think of it in the moment.
So I guess what I'm asking here is, because Lex feels protective more than aggressive, I was going protective more than aggressive with the design. And so I'm wondering if there's any, are we tying this to our friend Lex, or is there any elements of this specific character that we want to bring out? Like, they are protective. Do we want to do something tied directly to like maybe a revenge for Night Sisters being wounded, something like that? Because I know that we were kind of going with some of that vibe in the story.
I also, and I hope Lex doesn't mind me saying this, Lex is never a vindictive person for their own self, ever. Lex is a very, like, water off a duck's back type of person. Lex is incredibly vindictive when it comes to Lex's friends. So if you, like, I have to be so careful. I talk to Lex, oh, this person did this to me. Lex is like, where? I'm going to find them and I'm going to, So I feel like it makes a lot of sense for Lex's character to not have anything reactive to themselves getting wounded, but to have something very reactive to an allied character being wounded.
What if, instead of restricting it to Night Sisters, and maybe we don't want to make it too powerful, maybe it's a thing where they don't get a revenge attack thing from the primaries being wounded, because they're like, primaries can handle themselves. If a allied secondary or support unit gets wounded by an enemy effect, then Lex gets to do something cool.
I like that. Something like that, where they do something like maybe that, or like maybe that, and also it's like either secondary support. No, never mind. I like it just that, secondaries and supports. But what is the thing?
Yeah, so we could go Ahsoka, where it's kind of like, hey, gets to advance or maybe heal, advance or jump, and then make a melee, like make an attack. Something in that realm, make a 5 dice attack, but like gets to heal, advance or jump. Like basically we could just like copy Ahsoka's, but make it specifically be for secondaries or supports.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
And that makes for some interesting things, because she might be more powerful on her lightsaber side, but would get the ranged effect if she's on the range side. So she has both, but obviously would potentially hit harder, probably have better expertise with the lightsaber, but then maybe has extended range if she goes the bow route.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, no, that makes sense a lot.
Okay, well, I think we've constructed a very cool character. So which step are we doing next? Name, health, tags. Where are we going next?
Let's do tags real quick.
Okay, well, it seems easy. Force user. And Are we officially making her a Night Sister would be one of the questions.
I think so, because I don't think that the history of Lex's character is very recent. I think that they were trained as went most of the way through Jedi training, and then have been on Dathomir for quite some time. This isn't like a 5 minutes ago type deal. So I think, yeah, they're one of the Night Sisters for sure.
Okay. So Force user, Night Sister. Just looking at the character, I kind of want to give her the warrior tag.
Okay.
Not something that's super useful in the game at the moment, but could become useful down the road. I don't know. She looks badass, so I'm thinking warrior tag.
I dig it.
But no other tags jump out to me there. So past tags, are we at name or are we doing, I guess we need to pick, we probably should pick, threat level, the amount of squad points before we decide health.
That's true.
So I don't think she's, I guess it would come out in the tree and stuff, right? Like how powerful of a tree and stuff that they have. I think we could certainly go like, hey, she's going to have a pretty badass tree. She's going to have 2 potential trees. She has a revenge attack. You know, her movement can't increase in cost from force because it's a tactic. We could make her a 5. I kind of like the idea of her being a 5 cost support. That's badass as fuck.
Okay. Yeah, she's pretty powerful. Got a lot of cool abilities. Would that... Okay. No, I don't hate it.
Okay. So then we need to pick, I don't think she would give a force point, right? Unless, what are your thoughts there?
Ooh, that's tough. I kind of... See, I haven't played enough Night Sisters to know here. I feel like if Night Sisters are already like force, like dripping with force, then I'd say no. But if Night Sisters tend to be light on force, then I would kind of say yes.
I think they definitely can be a little light on force. If you were making, like, if you were trying to like pair this with the Mother Talzin box, Sauvage definitely can spend force. And, you know, the support unit can get wounded really easy and raise its force cost. So I would not be opposed to this being a +1 force support.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Okay, then let's do that. And then let's pick, I think there's still a 2 durability, but we got to pick how much health. What jumps out to you health-wise?
I do think we got to balance this character's kind of being very, very good with being a little squishy. Not crazy, but a little.
I mean, I don't think, because we're making them a 5. The main question is, because we're giving a force, like before we're doing the force, I was kind of thinking 10, but since we're giving a force, my thought is 9, because it is still a single model support. So you're sacrificing having a second body for this being a single body character, but like does a lot of stuff. And so they still can't, and we didn't give them like protection or steadfast or anything like Fifth Brother. So I'm at a bare minimum of 9 health.
Okay, you've convinced me. I see. Yeah, because it's a single. Yeah. No, 9 works.
Okay. Well, I think this is a super cool character. So I think we've done everything. You just have to reveal what's the name. What is the name of Lex's character?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm kind of between, I don't quite know nothing has landed on me that I think it's because I am overly invested in this, so I'm being really picky about names. But, I have this head canon now, and it might sound too cute, so you can tell me, but, I have this head canon now that something about how Lex's character ended up on the planet had something to do with a moon, or like Lex had something on them that was moon related. So I like Lex, like moon-bound or moon-touched sister or something like that, or lunar sister, something. I like any of those things.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make the story something where it was something happened with a moon, or this maybe wasn't on Dathomir, but it was a moon where there was Night Sisters. You could weave that in some way. We don't have to have the name in here right now. It can just be in the final art. But overall, this character is pretty cool. I'll be totally honest.
Yeah, I like what we ended up with. I'll keep thinking about a name just because I don't like the one I came up with originally. I'll keep thinking about it, and then Maybe we'll end up with that. Maybe we'll end up with something else. But I like everything, and we'll have all of the cool names for the abilities edited in post anyway.
For sure. And honestly, I don't think naming these abilities is going to be too hard. But overall, I think we made a really cool character. And do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap the episode?
I think we've announced the next person each time. So do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. You have the list, and I don't trust my old man memory, so I'm gonna let you pick.
Now I need to trust my old man memory. We are doing Serakrul next.
That was my understanding, so that was what I thought it was. All right, so Serakrul is next. Oh my god, I'm excited. Which will be at least a few weeks out. We don't want to do too many of these back to back. There'll probably be like a couple normal bonus episodes in the meantime. But we can close things out there. But you run the bonus episodes. You do this.
Well, I don't think we need to discuss whether or not Lex is rarely reserved. I think that's well established in all senses. So instead, I will just say, Lex, I hope you appreciated this as much as we did. And later, nerds.
Comm signal lost as you crash on a Dathomirian Night Sister moon.